Is it just me, or is learning to say sorry one of the hardest things to do, both as a child and as an adult? I was taught as a child to say sorry when I had done something that I wasn't supposed to, something that was wrong, whatever. But I found myself as an adult still not understanding how to do that. Of course, I understood if, say I hit somebody, you say sorry. If I did something wrong to somebody, you say sorry. If I felt guilty, you say sorry, right? But what about in the context where two people are in the wrong? If me and somebody got into an argument and we were both in the wrong, but I say, I'm sorry, right? Then that kind of leaves it open for interpretation, like the whole thing was my fault. And this is where I feel most people struggle, because if you don't feel like the whole thing was your fault, you might find it difficult to apologize, especially if the other person is not apologizing first. And I didn't really learn how to apologize properly, I guess, until I was married. My husband and I started to apologize in a different way than I had ever apologized in my entire life up to this point. We wouldn't just say, I'm sorry. If we got into an argument, per se, and I felt that my points, all or some of them, were valid, but at the same time, maybe my delivery was wrong. Maybe the way I went about it, maybe in the process I, did something crazy or out of the ordinary. Maybe I threw something, maybe I screamed, maybe I, whatever. I want to make it clear what I am sorry for and what I am not. So we use this as an opportunity to rediscuss what happened. So after getting into, a fight, whatever it may be, we come back and we rediscuss pretty much everything that was discussed in that argument, right? And so I might start off by saying, listen, I meant what I said when I said this. I am sorry that I screamed at you. I am sorry that I did this, that I said this, that, whatever. And I'll reiterate all of the points that I found valid and try to say them again in a way that was more appropriate now that I'm calm, while also explaining the places where I know and understand that I was wrong. And then this leaves the opportunity for the other person to do the same, and they can say where they felt they were right and what they're sorry for what they said. And then you can kind of come to some mutual agreement, regardless of whatever it was, or maybe it's not even agreement you have to come to. Maybe it's an understanding. I feel like a great example of this is, okay, so say you're getting ready to clean the kitchen and you just want your partner to take out the trash. So you ask them to take out the trash and they say, oh, I will in a minute. And for whatever reason, whatever they're doing, and that minute is longer than what you saw fit as a minute. And so now you get upset and now you maybe start yelling, arguing, whatever, and it turns into a big argument, like maybe a huge thing. Maybe things were said that you didn't mean, maybe things were done, things were, thrown, or voices were raised, or just whatever. And so then when you come back, you're like, listen, I'm upset that you didn't take out the trash. The reason that I got upset to the level that I did, and then you explain it. So in my situation, I suffer from anxiety and depression, and sometimes that gets the best of me and I get kind of crazy, right? So I would be, okay, I'm sorry that I screamed at you. That wasn't right. I understand you were doing whatever, and I should have just calmed down and I should have calmly asked you again to make sure you hadn't forgot. But I was trying to clean the kitchen. It was a mess. In order to, start the dishes, I needed to scrape the plates, and I could not because the trash was full. So really, I couldn't get started until you took out the trash. In which case I could say, maybe I could have just taken out the trash and avoided it, Or, maybe my point was that I was doing everything else. So couldn't you have stopped whatever you were doing to quickly take out the trash? Or maybe I'm just like, I was in the wrong. I shouldn't have got so impatient. I should have, maybe explained to you why it was that I was needing you to do it right away. Maybe I was tired. I need to go to bed, whatever. And now this is his opportunity to say, hey, this is what took me so long. This is why I didn't do it right away. Or maybe he's like, hey, I recognize you were tired, you were exhausted, you've done, all of this, and I should have stopped what I was doing. Maybe that's where, he apologizes, where maybe the night before he was like, I understand that it was my fault, but I was so angry, or just whatever. And you come to some kind of agreement or reasoning or whatever. Or maybe if they don't understand how, if you have anxiety or depression or whatever, and they don't understand it, now is the time where you can kind of explain it to them. And I use anxiety and depression as a example a lot because I have anxiety and depression, and it was something that when it started, it was really hard, and it took me learning why I was acting the way I was acting and how to calm it down. And then I kind of had to teach my husband, and then we kind of learned together from there, and it has helped so much. Like when he sees me getting really anxious and overwhelmed and overstimulated, he knows exactly what to do to stop it from escalating or calm it down or whatever. Or when I get in my really bad depressed states, like he understands, he recognizes it, and he knows what to do to kind of like help me where he can. Now, this isn't always perfect because, if you're dealing with somebody that has really bad depression, like sometimes you get overwhelmed trying to deal with it as well. And there I go, get off on a totally different topic. So anyway, my question is to you, how do you apologize in your relationship? Is there something that you found that maybe works better, that might work for other people? Any tips or advice you have for people?